Hey, welcome to part 2 of setting up an Arizona tournament on tabroom.com. We have our own YouTube channel, AZ Speech and Debate, so smash those like and subscribe buttons and keep the content coming. In the first video, we looked at setting up the initial elements, including your deadlines and dates. Please make sure deadlines and dates are correct and make sure that the coaches coming to your tournament know about them because they're going to be more important than ever. The next tab is the Access tab. And this is important because you have the ability to make other coaches your tab room staff and let them see what's going on in the tournament, check your settings, but also be aware that anybody who has access could potentially change things in your tournament. So the person who created the tournament is the tournament owner, and then other coaches on your coaching staff have the ability to be admins, or you can just add anybody. So if, for example, I wanted to add Meg as a tournament person, I have several options. Either Meg could have entry-only status, which means all she's able to do is enter ballots. Well, we're doing online balloting, so that doesn't make much sense. I could also give her limited status, and she's only able to tab certain things, or I can limit her in terms of which events she'd be able to tab. I don't have any events in yet, so I don't really have that option. Or maybe I'm saying all Meg can do is work in registration. Unless there's a particular reason why you want to limit people to specific events or specific jobs, it's a lot easier just to make people administrators. If they only have entry or limited function, they're not going to be able to work with judge pools, they're not going to be able to work with room pools. Their options for helping you at the tournament are pretty limited until there are ballots to tab, which since we're online, we really don't need that. So if you're going to put somebody in, you might as well make them an administrator. You really only need one tournament owner. The only difference between owner and admin is the owner has the ability to go through and do the initial tournament creation, but there's really no functional difference between owner and admin. So you can also delete people off of your tournament just in case you need to remove them. And then we have messages. So if, well, we all have messages that we want to have. Who should the money come to? So we want the AZ practice tournament proceeds to come to Mesa High School Speech and Debate, 1630 East Southern Avenue. And do you want a message appearing on the invoice? Maybe you want your message appearing on the invoice to be a little more serious than that. Do you want a message appearing on the front page of registration? Do not let the students be the ones to register on tabroom.com. If you want a message on your waitlist admission emails, then you've got that. Make sure anytime you enter a text box that you save, otherwise they will disappear on you. We do not need to worry about tournament provided housing. These are just personal notes for you. I ran out of forks. I need more forks. And then, whoops, it let me know I need to save that note. And then if you're going to merge your tournament with another tournament, you can, but why would you? So that's everything in the initial tournament tab. The next thing that we can look at are rules and results. And you've got 3 tabs here. Points and bids we're not going to worry about at all because we don't do NDCA points. And if you're a Tournament of Champions bid tournament, then you'll be able to take care of that when you get to your tournament, but that doesn't apply here. Sweepstakes I'll cover in another video because that gets kind of complicated. But for our tiebreakers, you will probably have to add a new set. And then when you have the new tiebreaker set, you'll need to give it a name. In a nod to our old joy of tournaments, I can call it FLA Speech Prelims. And then we can create the tiebreaker set. And then you have your tiebreakers in order. Now I'm going to delete this one just because I've already created an FLA Speech Prelims tiebreaker that I believe, with further testing, will replicate what we have been doing, maybe even without all of the scribbles on the break sheets. What we want is our first tiebreaker to be ranks from prelim rounds, truncate to 5. So you'd go ranks, truncate to 5. We don't worry about the size of the smallest section because every round is a little bit different. If we just truncate to 5, it evens everything out. And we want to use the scores from rounds marked prelim. Then we want our reciprocal ranks from prelim rounds truncated to 5. Okay, same thing. Reciprocals truncated to 5. Use scores from prelim rounds. Then we want our speaker points from prelim rounds. And then, because our final tiebreaker is currently a coin flip or a roll of the D20, Tabroom does provide coin flip. And you want them in that order: ranks, reciprocal, points, coin flip. Then we go to our FLA Speech Elims, and it's the same thing. You'd have to create this FLA Speech Elim tiebreaker. With this one, we want to advance equal entries from each section. Because if you don't click that, then it's going to take the top 6 out of semifinals, regardless of which semifinal section they came from. So we want to make sure we advance equal entries. And our tiebreakers in order are ranks from all rounds, except the one best and worst, and that'll take your 3 prelim ranks, add your 3 semifinal ranks, drop the high, drop the low, middle 4 ballots are what make your cumulative rank. This next one is going to rarely be used, but we have 1 or 2 of these 3-way ties each tournament. This will break the 3-way tie by looking at the 3 semi-ballots and judging the top competitor among those 3 ballots. Now notice here, we don't want to choose prelim rounds, we want to choose previous. Because if this is after the semifinal, it'll take the semi-ballots. If it's after the final, it'll take the final ballots. Then we want judge pref from previous rounds, and this will be a 2-way judge pref. This is only if we have that 3-way tie, and this has to come before a 2-way judge pref. Otherwise, it doesn't work. And then the 4th would be reciprocal ranks from previous rounds. And then, in the event that we still have a tie after the reciprocal rank, that is where we would have all competitors advance. And that very rarely ever happens, so we just leave that as that. Remember that it's ranks from all rounds, so after the final, it'll be the 3 prelim, 3 semi, 3 final round ballots. Drop the high-low. Those 7 ranks determine your final placing. And then we had to create FLA debate prelims, win-loss from prelim rounds, op wins for prelim rounds, then speaker points from prelim rounds, then we dropped the high-low from prelim rounds. Those are our rulebook tiebreakers. We don't need to create a separate FLA debate elim because at that point, it's just win-loss from previous rounds. The default had advancing equal entries from each section. I don't know if that really matters, but you can just choose the default debate elim, and you should be good to go. Now, in terms of Congress, the Congress will probably be wrong because the default in tab room is incorrect. Here are the tiebreakers that you want. We want ranks from prelim rounds, and we want them truncated to 9. Then we want judge pref truncated to 9. Then we want reciprocal truncated to 9. Ranks from prelim rounds truncated to 9 except the best and worst. Then we want reciprocal from prelim round truncated to 9 except best and worst. The default duplicates this number 2 for number 5. So you're going to need to change that to reciprocal rank from prelim round truncated to 9 except the one best and worst. And then we want the chair rank not truncated because the chair rank is that final parley ballot. And we want the same with Congress elims in the event that you're doing a Congress elim. Notice that all Congress tiebreakers advance equal entries in each section. And that's so you make sure that you're pulling out not the however lowest ranked competitor across the board, but rather the top 3 or 4 competitors from each prelim chamber. And that concludes our look at the Rules and Results tab. And next time, we'll take a look at how to set up your judge pools and how to set up your events.